So South Africa have won the first ODI. Went down to the wire, and it was some positives, some negatives in this match. I'm not going to say that it was completely a massive win for amazing win for South Africa from that perspective. Obviously, good to get some Super League points on the board, but I mean, it was just a 9-run victory. Obviously, the game was reduced. We thought that there was going to be no cricket happening with the way that the rain was coming and the toss was delayed and delayed and delayed. And there was a lot of things that were taking place in this particular match before the actual kickoff. Sorry, I have the long graphic over there. Um, but in the end, South Africa have managed to win, and there's something that we can speak about when it comes to this particular game because there's some good performances and some bad performances that took place in this match. But before we get going, before we get started, please click subscribe. Please click that notification bell for all future videos as well. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, and share. If you want to help us grow South African cricket and promote South African cricket, please get involved with our Patreon account. Also, download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free straight to your inbox every month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. We're going to kind of combine the 2 months for this particular issue because there is a World Cup happening and we want to get that issue out and ready just before the World Cup. So please stay tuned for the latest issue. And you will get all back issues also free. And go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all of your updates. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Looking forward to discussing this victory with you guys. It's not going to be a very, very long show, guys, but I'm going to try to my best to cover everything that we can and get to as many comments as possible. A very good evening. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with the first ODI between India and South Africa. My first initial thoughts while I was watching this match was South Africa really read the conditions quite well with the ball at the beginning. I think they did overall actually read it quite well, other than Shamsi's bowling performance today. I'm going to get to that a little bit later, but let me just get into the summary of this particular match. So South Africa batted first, and they batted quite slowly, to be honest. They started off very slow. I mean, the run rate was just under 4 for a large portion of the match. And it was frustrating to watch as a fan, knowing that it was a 40-over match, to see us go so slowly. I thought that 250 would be a decent score on this ground, and South Africa got 249. So I was pretty close with regards to my thought processes before this and my guessing before this. But I thought that Janneman was a little bit slow today, and that often happens with him. We see if he doesn't go kick on to get a half century and go on to score a century or whatever the case may be, he can go out looking like that in that particular manner. Bavuma again started off well, thought this was going to be the time that he's going to kick on, and then he disappointed us all again. Markram was completely bamboozled by Kuldeep. It's almost like the ghost of his past came back, ghost of cricket's past came back, and this came to haunt him. Kuldeep still gives me nightmares from when they came down. Him and Chahal came down here and destroyed us in that ODI series when they took 32 wickets between the two pair of them. I still get haunted by that. So yeah, it wasn't really a very good analysis from Aiden. He was completely just pulled around the crease and eventually was bowled by a beautiful delivery actually in the end. Their spinners bowled okay. Obviously, one of them going for a lot and the other doing quite well. It's just similar to us with Maharaj and Shamsi. But the praise has to go to that guy in the middle over there, I think, Heinrich Klaassen. I think Heinrich Klaassen came into the situation when things were a bit tough and Quinton de Kock needed a partner. He then also went through the period where he became the person that was the attacker and the aggressor. And then he also went to a period where he was a partner for Miller. So he was the cog in that hole in the middle order for us today. He really batted exquisitely today, and I was really impressed, especially with the way he batted against spin. 74 not out of 65 deliveries. But David Miller, keeping his form the way it is currently, I mean, I hope that he can continue this form leading into the World Cup, please, because we need Miller to be able to be this lethal. 75 of 63 deliveries, batted beautifully. Quinton de Kock was almost there for another half century, but he fell 2 runs short. Maybe that keeps him more hungry going further. But India also bowled really well, I would say. Although Bishnoi went for quite a lot of runs, I must say that Shardul and Kuldeep bowled pretty well and they were impressive. Uh, but let's talk about South Africa's bowling. Ultimately, Ngidi, Rabada, Maharaj bowled really well. Parnell bowled really well, but Shamsi didn't. Now, when I was watching Maharaj bowl at first, I was getting excited because I was seeing how much turn Maharaj was getting off the surface. So when Shamsi came into bowl, I was really excited. I was like, "Oh, come on, Shamoy, really, and it's your time now. You're going to now get the best out of this pitch." And his first over was amazing. His first over was incredible. He took a wicket as well. So I thought, yes, this is going to be very difficult for India to try and deter two spinners. But then something just happened and switched. And he struggled with his lines and links. He was bowling a lot off the he's bowling a lot down leg. He wasn't getting the control of the ball. He wasn't finding his the lengths right in on the pitch. Um, it's almost like he dips after 5 overs or 6 overs or so, which is weird. Um, but he hasn't necessarily been as lethal in ODI cricket as you could say maybe in T20 cricket. And that's a little bit of a problem. But he didn't really bowl as well today as I would have liked. I wasn't really impressed with him in total in general. And but the rest of the bowlers bowled excellently. I think Kagiso Rabada particularly was very lethal today. He was very consistent. He bowled with pace. He bowled with accuracy. I really enjoyed his performance today. And looking Giri, as per usual, is keeping his variations neat and tucked and got wickets when he needed to. So it was a good performance all around, I think, by South Africa. Although there were maybe one or two performances that we can obviously criticize, and that's unfortunately Kagiso Rabada and Temba Bavuma and Aiden Markram. Those three never really came to the party today, you could say, in general. Although Temba Bavuma in the field was good today, took a couple of really, very good catches. His decisions today were pretty good, although he's managing of Shamsi and the DRS system. Maybe he shouldn't have taken that. We saw how grumpy Quinton de Kock was throughout the game. It was hilarious to watch that throughout this match. So overall, I don't know if I could say I'm fully happy because the talk before the ODI series was that this was going to be a preparation for the T20 still. They were going to still approach it in the same manner, but I didn't really necessarily completely see that from everybody. It's a pity that Pavuma didn't get wickets. I mean, runs on the runs on the board. I would have liked to see him get some runs on the board. Of course, I would like everybody to go in confident and fit, but I do think that it's. I know I was a bit harsh on Twitter to say it's a joke that Risa Hendricks isn't getting selected. But it is a bit concerning that he isn't because, I mean, when you look at ODI cricket, I thought that he would at least get selected ahead of someone like Aiden, who struggled in ODI cricket. Now, that particular decision, I have a slight criticism for, just a slight one, is where I feel that ODI cricket has been the bane of Aiden's existence currently. And I feel that he's been really in good form and in a good headspace in T20 cricket. And before we're playing in the ODIs after the T20, could that maybe, guys, I don't know what you guys think, but could that maybe not give him the wrong mindset going into the World Cup after he's coming off good form? I don't know. I don't know mentally if that's going, if he can separate the two, if he can separate the two formats like that in out of his head, if he can remove the two from each other and separate the two when he's playing. But I'm a bit concerned about that one. If it was me, I would play Riza Hendricks instead of Aiden for this ODI series, because I think that it's also important that Riza keeps fit. Because what if something happens and we need him to play and then he's been sitting on the sidelines and hasn't hit the ball? So I would like to see that, maybe that one change perhaps. Seeing Riza Hendricks coming to the team. Um, Other than that, it was a decent performance, and I think that South Africa needed the win. Of course, these are second string India side, but they're still very good players, and you could see that by their performances. Of course, with the bat particularly, they impressed a lot, particularly in their middle order. Samson was brilliant, Suresh Iyer was brilliant, and Shadpool batted very well as well, considering the circumstances of the match. So let me get into some of your guys' comments. Let's see what you guys have to say in the comment section. Khalid, how does Riza not get a? I don't know, my guy. I'm confused about it as well. It is shocking. And you know what's worse about it is this is like gives me familiar feeling to 2019 when he was in form, and then on the last minute they pulled him from the squad that was going to be announced and put Amla in. Um, which was a shock for me. Um, and then T20 World Cup, he barely got the opportunity in the last T20 World Cup. And now again he's in form, and then he doesn't get an opportunity to play now. So it's crazy. Should stick to ODIs and test. I think you're talking about Pavuma, of course. Maharaj proved himself again, but he's the first one to get left out if we speak about the picker spinner. And that's true. And maybe I've been a little bit harsh as well with my criticism of my opinions on Keshav Maharaj. Keshav Maharaj's biggest quality is his heart. It's his will to win, his determination, and his heart. Um, he plays with an amazing spirit and gives his all every single game, and he's always looking to improve. And his spin bowling has improved tremendously, and it keeps on improving the more he plays. It's phenomenal to watch. His decision making is also phenomenal. If he does go for runs, he knows how to pull it back quite well, which is quite nice to see. So I think that has been good as well from that perspective. I'm gonna get one caller in. I just want to get an India perspective over here, so I'm gonna get Ashwani to give his little review of the match, and then we're gonna say bye to everybody, and see what we have to say. What he has to say. How's it, Ashwani? Go ahead, bro. What of this match?
Yeah, I think fantastic fight back by India after losing four early wickets, and the partnership between Shreyas and Sanju keep this score to uh, around 230, and obviously the partnership with Shardul Thakur and Sanju keep this chase into the hunt. And what a innings by Sanju Samson. But I think in the last 2 3 overs he just miscalculation this run chase. If the second last over he taken the strike from the Avesh, it might be even more close, or India might win this match. But I think South Africa should win this match, and they thoroughly deserve the victory. And the guys like Klassen and Miller again prove this class. But one thing which I want to uh, tell you, the viewers, that I think South Africa should select a team for this tour. Obviously, I know that this series is in the purpose of the ODI league, but I think because the World Cup is 10 days away, so it's very much possibility that you see the example of Dwayne Pretorius. He is injured and he is out of the World Cup. And the ground where matches today played, there are a lot of patches there. So it might be possibility that one of the bowlers can be injured. And these are the crucial bowlers like Lungen Giri, Kakishore Bada. These are the crucial cooks for South African pace attack. So I would like to see South Africa play more of their bench players, which are not included in the T20 squad. And rest, there is no match between this Indian team and South African team. They are far superior team. These young Indian players will get the experience against this South African attack. They have nothing to lose against this South African team.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean that we're just gonna have to wait and see if South Africa can continue this particular performances going into the next match. I mean, there's not really much to talk about really in this match that from a South African point of view. We got saved ultimately with a bat by two extraordinarily batters, and obviously Quinton de Kock kept things together at the top. And I wish really that we could have gotten the other guys on board. I have to say a couple of news things before we go. Just before I say bye to everybody, I just have to say a couple of things that has happened recently in the news. So the fixtures have been released for South Africa's summer. We're going to be playing obviously against England. We're going to be playing against West Indies. We're going to be playing against I think as well the Netherlands as well. Um, and then there's also been dates revealed for it as well. So for when we're going to be playing it. And the one thing that stood out to me that was a bit of a shock is that I feel that this is going to clash a little bit, especially the England ODI series is going to clash a little bit with our SA20 league, being that it's going to start in January. It seems to be the case. And I don't know how they're going to manage that particularly, but it's going to be interesting to see how they do that. We then play a 4-day tour match with South Africa Invitational team against the West Indies. Um, and that's in from the 21st to the 24th of February. Then there's a Betway test against the West Indies, a test series against the West Indies from the 28th to the 4th of March, 28th of February, of course. 8th to the 12th of March is West Indies again. South Africa versus West Indies again. And then there's an ODI bilateral series of again that we're playing this time against the West Indies as well. And then there's a couple. Yeah, and then there's KFC T20 eyes that we play against the West Indies as well. Bilateral series there. And then there's Netherlands. That will be in March and then April. So that's some of the fixtures that were released. And then there's a massive news about Dwayne Pretorius. It really saddened me when I heard the news because I was really looking forward to seeing both him and Wayne Parnell in that middle order, in that middle lower order, you could say. And bowling in tandem together as well. I think that their two skill sets really complement each other. I feel they give a nice balance to the team. And knowing that he's out is a real sad one for us because he was key to the success that we had in the last World Cup, relatively. So he bowled really well there and played really well there. So that is a little sad for me as well with Marco Jansen coming up for this ODI series, but we're not sure who's going to be the permanent replacement in the World Cup. So I just would like to get your thoughts on that, Ashwani, before we call it a night.
Yeah, I think it's a big setback for South Africa that Dwayne Pretorius is not part of the World Cup team anymore. I think he is the main cog. You can say that number seven, he balances the South African 11 basically. So I think his absence will definitely hamper the South African teams. But I think South Africa have two three other options like Marco Jensen and Dile Filikwayo, who can also come in contention. Obviously, many guys are not happy with his inclusion, but I think he has that all-round skills. And Australian and South African conditions are a little bit similar, so he can get the knack. Uh, Obviously, Marco Johnson has a higher chances that he can get selected because of his left arm angle, and he can also bat. But I think a huge setback for South Africa, and South Africa has to be cautious in the next two other internationals. They have to rested their main players for the T20 upcoming T20 World Cup. That I am saying in the past 2 3 days.
Mhm. So, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please go on social media, tag Aditya in, and say happy birthday to the guy. It's my brother's birthday today, so please give him a big happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday to Aditya.
Yeah, Aditya, happy birthday. So please tag him
Uh,
on social media and give him a quick happy birthday as well. Ashwani, thanks a lot for coming on the show. Thank you to all the viewers. We'll see you again tomorrow with another preview show, probably. We'll discuss it closer tomorrow. I'll decide what I'm going to do and whether it's going to be a topic or the preview show. But thanks a lot for everybody for tuning in. I know it's a short one. I'm currently busy. I have a couple of things I need to do. So thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody, and I'll see you again tomorrow with another show. Take care and enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace out, everyone.